Um, I was up most of the night last night. I couldn't sleep. I I keep waking up and just crying, knowing that, here I am under the covers in my cozy bed and blanket, you know. Palestinians are in the dark, being bombed, and the whole world is kind of silent. But there's hope, I'm finding hope. I'm finding hope. I know it feels dark right now, but I feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Yes, dua is very, very important. We have to keep praying for our brothers and sisters and for all of our humanity, all of humanity, anyone. Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. But today what I want to talk about is America. This country that I love so much. And I do love this country very much. It has given me so much. I'm no hypocrite, and I am not, because I know the American people are very nice. The vast majority of them are very, very decent people. Very kind people. Unfortunately, they've been lied to for so long. For so long. They have been brainwashed. The American people, very kind, the best neighbors. If you're sick, just like our Prophet ﷺ advised us, they will knock on your door if they don't see you every day, for a couple of days. A lot of them want to make sure you're okay. How many of us do that regularly? If you get sick, they'll cut your grass. They'll pick up your children. They're very generous people. Very generous people. I mean, my mother said, she said it's very difficult to hate the American people. And I said, why? She's very analytical person. And she said, because on the one hand, a lot of the problems that are taking shape in the world are, somehow America has something to do with it. She said, but when something bad happens, the first boots you see on the ground are usually Americans. And she's right about that. So in light of everything that's happening, all the despair, one thing I wanted to bring to people's attention is that there's hope. There's hope because a lot of people are waking up to this, thanks to the social media. A lot of Americans are becoming educated. They're finding the truth. These are people who always thought of themselves as the hero, just like their movies. I was even one of those people. I at a very young age, when I was growing up in Somalia, I used to watch American movies with my uncles who loved American movies. And I even with later on when I came to America, and even after September the 11th, everything that happened to the Muslims, and how entire Muslim nations were brought down and have been destroyed, I've never lost hope in America and in the American people. Because, I mean, here you have this land, this vast land with so many people, a nation within many nations that has every shade in humanity. People are kind, decent, yet when a lot of them seem very ignorant about what their government is doing. How is that possible? And so the only time they wake up is when something like this happens. When America attacks, and I say America attacks, it's America that's attacking Gaza. It's American weapons, it's American money, it's American citizens that are killing Palestinians. Make no mistake about it. That is the truth, and that's the reality. And I bought that Hollywood propaganda. But they plan, and Allah plans. I know we want everything done when we want it to. We want things to be done fast. And you ask yourself sometimes, where are you, Allah? You can just stop this just like that. Kum fayakum. Subhanallah. May Allah forgive us. But then you realize, in due time, everything is going to happen when it's supposed to happen. It's not going to happen in our time. But when Allah decides, it will happen. But who would have thought that America in the 21st century, when the world is literally, we truly have become a global village. Shrinking world, indeed. And we can see each other. You can, I can be right here in the Pacific Northwest, and I can just take a walk with someone who is on the other side of the globe. Share a meal with them and a laughter or two, walk on streets that I've never been to. We are so interconnected more than ever. Yet, we are killing each other. We literally, America, the most powerful nation in the world, and it is America that's fighting Palestinians, people that don't have army, people that don't have weapons, people that have nothing, people whose water and fuel and food is controlled by other people. They're captives. I get upset when people say, oh, Gaza, Gaza is an open air prison. No, it's not. It's a concentration camp. That's what it is, a concentration camp. Because when you are in prison, you know why you're there. You get to have 3 meals a day. You get to have water. You get to have health care for the most part. And you have a due date on when you're leaving. So you get to have hope. You get to have hope. You can imagine being out. You can picture being out and having, you can have hopes and dreams, You can picture of you accomplishing something and traveling the world, and even if it's a dream. Because hope is powerful. But when you're in a concentration camp, you can't even fish, because snipers will shoot you dead. You can't go to the water. You're surrounded by barbed wire. You come near it, you'll be shot dead by snipers. You don't have clean water. There's constantly, scarcity of food at all times. Life expectancy is very, very short. Daily humiliations. In the 21st century. That's what America is doing. And make no mistake about it, it's America that's doing this. Because Israel may as well be our 51st state. Because it gets more money and more, care than many of our states here. It's actually the wealthiest state, I think, with everything, universal health care and free universities and everything. That's not what most Americans have. It took the president of the United States to go visit Maui 2 weeks when there was this, I think it was back in August, when the horrific, early August, when at least 800 people died, horrific fires wiped out an entire city. But he went to Israel within 2 days or 3 days, I think. And he refused to call for a ceasefire. They all do. I don't know. I want to show you something. Check this out. Here, check this out.
No, it's not. This is a massacre.
I don't have the whole video, but I'm going to show you this one. There's this other guy, this TikToker, amazing man, this incredible guy. He educates people so well. I've learned even so much from him. And I thought I knew a lot about the plight of the Palestinians, but he's such a genius. He's just incredible, this guy. I'm sure many of you most likely are following him already, but check this out. It's the foreign, the national security advisor of the White House, and he was asked if we're going to call for ceasefire because the poor Palestinians are dying, children are dying, and Gaza is basically being destroyed. And he said, well, war is ugly. War is ugly. We're trying to make sure that the Israelis minimize the civilian casualties. But war is ugly, and that's just. And then the next minute, it's another video. This guy's called Navarra Media. They showed another video during when Russia cut electricity and water from the Ukrainians. And he was asked, do you think what the Russians are doing is a war crime? And he said, it's definitely a war crime. It's a crime against humanity. And he said, and he teared up. He literally cried. He literally cried. And he said, this is happening to women, children, elderly, men, women, this is just despicable. Yet when the same exact question was asked on behalf of the Palestinians, he said, well, this is war, and war is ugly. We don't have to like it. Those were his words. That's why I'm telling you it's the US that's doing this. I feel like it's the US government that's trying to clear the way for Israel. So Israel will take the entire Palestine. And that's why, the people that live there, we're not going to make the mistake calling them Jews, because most Jewish people are wonderful human beings. Many of the people who are advocating for Palestinians on TikTok and YouTube and everywhere are Jewish. Jewish Americans, Jewish Canadians, Europeans. So no. These are Israelis. Oh, well, I want to show you, first I want to show you this Jewish lady. She's incredible. The way she talks about how many celebrities who are so dumb, they just don't know what they're talking about. Just like, people like this idiot, Look at this idiot. This guy, I can't believe this. They can be so smart, all of a sudden they become dumb when it comes to this issue. Bill Maher, check this out.
I would submit that Israel did not steal anybody's land. This is another thing I've heard the last couple of weeks, words like occupiers and colonizers.
Well, maybe then Bill Maher, he's like, Israel didn't steal any land. This is the land of their heritage. That's what he says. Well, maybe Bill Maher would be able to, since he's being so kind, and we all have to give back our lands to the previous, people that inhabited those lands. Maybe he can give up his California mansion to the Mexicans, because California was owned by Mexico. Maybe that's what he'll do, since he's being so charitable and so kind. As ugly as he is, ugly people always have the audacity to be even uglier in the inside,
Apartheid, which I don't think people understand.
No, you don't understand, you idiot.
The Jews have been in that area of the world since about 1200 BC, way before the first Muslim or Arab walked the earth.
Walked the earth. People are clapping for him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Many of these Jews are Europeans. They have no ancestry to this land. They're Europeans. They're colonizers, in fact. The audacity, if that's how we're thinking, then we should be able to give the Native Americans their land and be so kind. Why don't we do that? The hypocrisy. I'm telling you, people can be so smart, then all of a sudden, in minutes, when it comes to this issue, they become dumb and blind. It makes me think of Al-Baqarah, But then there's this lady. Check out how she explains, because a lot of famous people are talking about, help Israel, stand with Israel. Let's help and rescue the hostages. No, none of them are talking about the poor Palestinians and the genocide that's taking place. So a lot of Black people and a lot of other ordinary Americans are actually becoming, sort of taking the side of Palestinians, and something incredible is happening. The entire narrative is shifting, completely shifting, except the mainstream media. There's no one left to defend this indefensible. This is the story of the hero and the anti-hero. Palestine, well, the actual hero will be ordinary folks who will come to the rescue and take up the narrative of the Palestinians and will, help them secure their freedom. But the bad guy, obviously, like if this was a movie, the bad guy or the bad guys are the US government and the Israeli government and some of their, Shab civilians who are so barbaric and don't know anything. Some. There are many amazing Jewish people who are taking up this cause. There are many Americans who are becoming much more educated than they've ever been because of the social media, and they're taking up this cause. Just like this man, look at this guy. I love this guy.
So I have a sad update on my Gaza trip. From the moment I made this public that I was going to go to Gaza, I've been contacted by so many people. I've made so many connections, and one of those is an organization called Pious Projects, which not only operates all over the world, but they are specifically operating right now in Gaza, bringing aid to people. And I spoke with the founder and the president last night, Fahim.
So this guy is trying to... He voted for the idiotic president that we have over here, Joe Biden. And he was supposed to be a progressive kind of a person. And then all of a sudden he came across what's happening. And he was astonished. So he's been advocating for Palestine for a while now, ever since this intifada. I mean, this whole, Nakba, the second Nakba started. And now he's planning to go to, him and a bunch of other people are trying to go to Gaza. And so the guy he was supposed to be staying with is who he's talking about. The guy, his organization has been bombed. So he's sharing the news.
An amazing guy, a Muslim American from Chicago, who started this organization 9 years ago. They've done so much good already. And I spoke with him last night, and he said, Quinn, the volunteer house where our people live in was bombed last night in Gaza. It's utterly destroyed. Two of my cousins were bombed at a UN school while volunteering. My cameraman the other day said, is dead. Was bombed the other day. He's dead. These are people, innocent people, who are literally in that country to help other people, and they're being bombed and killed. Israel is trying to convince you that they're defending themselves. And they're trying to dehumanize the Palestinian citizens so that they have an excuse to massacre thousands and thousands and thousands of them. And if that's not bad enough for you, this is the shit that you will not see on the news. They are murdering aid workers. Human beings, volunteers who are literally just there to help. They're murdering those people. And Fahim told me with a broken heart last night, my tax dollars just paid for the massacre of my organization that's here just trying to help people.
Mm-hmm. This is how things are happening. The narrative is shifting, and it's literally getting out of hand to the point where Israelis are trying to hire ordinary folks. I ran into this guy, this African American guy. Thank you for that. Who you can tell he has no idea about anything, nothing, what's going on. It's like they're hiring people from the streets, like homeless folks from the streets. I just love this guy.
Simple. No, it can be, and it is. It is that simple. Yeah, but there's always two sides to every story.
I run into this a lot.
Two sides. One side is a nuclear power with high-tech munitions and advanced military equipment capable of fielding an army with an air force and a navy. And the other side is a concentration camp full of kids. Yeah, well, Hamas shouldn't have killed civilians. Correction! Israel should not have been ethnically cleansing and genociding
Too
the
liberal.
Palestinian population for the past 75 years. When you violently take land away from people and then place those people into a concentration camp and then slowly and systematically kill them off, you can expect some violence. Condemning revolutionary violence is tacit approval of state terror. You just don't like it when violence disturbs the stability of the privileged social relations in society. And violence done to preserve the status quo is A-okay. Yeah, well, they still shouldn't have gone in and killed innocent civilians. Does Israel not have the right to defend itself? Do concentration camp guards have the right to defend themselves? Yeah. No. Do Palestinians not have the right to liberate themselves? Actually, according to UN law and the Geneva Conventions, they are, by all means necessary, allowed to liberate themselves. No one in their right mind would condemn or pass moral judgment on Haitian slaves using indiscriminate violence against their French colonial oppressors in order to liberate themselves. Maybe if the Palestinians were more like Gandhi. Even Gandhi justified forceful resistance in the face of impossible odds. These men knew they were going to die. Let me tell you something. The moment that you are consigned to a life in a concentration camp, facing eternal degradation, humiliation, being terrorized, having your entire family murdered, having your home destroyed, having your neighborhood destroyed, having your entire way of life destroyed, with no hope, absolute dread, every day getting more hopeless and being filled with rage, then you can pass judgment on those that broke the wall on October 7th.
Mashallah. Oh my God, there's so many of them. So many people who are just, I'm going to share this one with you, this Jewish woman who finally, the way she unpacks the whole, a lot of these, like Bill Maher's and other famous individuals who are just being so dumb and who would always say, oh, I was always, I believe in Black Lives Matter, or, the rights of this group or that group. I always stood for the rights of all people, but the only rights they never stand for is the rights of the Palestinian people, because no, they that's where they draw the line. But this woman unpacks it so well. Check this out. I love this.
I can't say this, so I'm going to have this white person
say
it.
This white person say it. This black girl, she reacts to different videos, interesting videos, and she said, I can't say it. But I want this white person to say it, and watch and see how this woman unpacks everything. It's brilliant.
One of the most interesting things to me in seeing how the social media front of this war is playing out is to see how it's impacted the relationship of white folk, most particularly white Jews, to the Black and brown voices and leaders in the social justice and racial justice advocacy movement that we've turned to in these spaces in the past. So like during the Black Lives Matter movements, all of us, white Jews, were really elevating the voices of these Black and brown leaders. They were fighting for Black liberation, and we were supporting it, and we were turning to them as leaders in this movement. But now all of those same voices, those Black and brown leaders, are advocating for Palestinian liberation. They're advocating for the plight of Palestinians in Gaza. They're advocating for the end to the occupation. And that's making white Jews incredibly uncomfortable, to the point where a lot of those same folk that were elevating those voices in prior racial justice movements are now saying that those same voices are anti-Semitic. And it's so quick for all of these white Jews to quickly flip and be like, no, they're wrong, I'm right. These voices that I respected for all other social justice and racial justice movements, they're wrong about this one. This is just the one that they're wrong about. I sort of get it if you think about it. Advocating for Black liberation is good. Like, we've established as Americans, as white Americans, that white people in America are the oppressors. Like, that's been established. So fighting for Black liberation is good. There has not been an established consensus of Jews that Israel is the oppressors, and they refuse to believe it, right? So if Palestine liberation means that you have to admit that Israel is the oppressors, then we're just not ready yet to to advocate for Palestinian liberation. So instead of lifting up and supporting all of these minority voices like white Jews have in the past, they don't have anyone to turn to except for, I don't know, Amy Schumer.
I love it. That is so well said. I mean, it's just incredible. I love how the black girl's like, you know, I'm not going to touch this, but I'm going to let this white person, she said, say it. So I'm telling you, even, I mean, she's Jewish and she's taking a side. Clearly she stands with the Palestinians.